friends, welcome to Science with Savi. I hope every one of you is doing great. So I'm back again with a very interesting topic, and it is one of my favorite topic in science. So today we will be doing cellular respiration. This topic is there in class 7 NCERT science book lesson number 10, Respiration in Organism, and it is also there in class 10 lesson number 6, life processes. So I have created the study material in such a way that it caters the need of all the students who are in class 7 and class 10, and also for the other children who are above class 6, so that your entire concept of respiration is complete. So the topics which we will be discussing today are cellular respiration, types of cellular respiration, aerobic and anaerobic, difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration, breathing, inhalation and exhalation, difference between respiration and breathing, and the rate of breathing. So children, before starting, keep yourself focused, concentrate, try to attend these sessions with a pen and a notebook, and try making small points of your own. These points will be very helpful when you will be revising the chapter. It will help you to quickly revise the chapter. So let's begin. So let's start with the first topic, which is cellular respiration. For everything I do, I need energy. For speaking, even when I'm talking to you, my body is using energy. When I am walking, when I am jumping, I'm climbing the stairs. For literally everything, my body is using energy. But from where does this energy come from? Yes, the obvious answer is the food we eat gives us the energy. But is it as simple as that? No, it's not like that. The food which we eat is in the form of complex structure. The food we eat has various nutrients in them, like the food has carbohydrate, protein, fats, vitamins and minerals. But these nutrients have a complex structure. My body cannot absorb these nutrients in the same form. So in the process of digestion, these complex structure of nutrients are converted into very simple form which my body can easily use or my body can easily absorb. Like the carbohydrate is converted into very simple sugar. Most of the carbohydrate is converted into glucose. The protein is converted into amino acids, and the fats are converted into the fatty acid and the glycerol. So in these simple form, my body can easily absorb these nutrients. And this happens in the process of digestion. So after the food is digested and it is converted and broken down into the simple form, the body absorbs it and it mixes with the bloodstream, and this food reaches to all parts of the body. When I say all parts of the body, it means it reaches each and every cell. So the food which reaches the cell, it is further broken down through a chemical reaction, and this releases energy, and this process is cellular respiration. Yes, this process of deriving energy from the food is called cellular respiration. You can take the definition now. The process of breakdown of food in the cell with the release of energy is called cellular respiration. Cellular respiration takes place in all the cells of the organisms. All plant and animal cells undergo cellular respiration. Okay, so this is cellular respiration. That is, the food which we are taking is further broken down into the simple form glucose. The glucose reaches the cell, and in the cell the glucose is again broken down, and then this releases energy. Okay, so now why we call this process as cellular respiration? Because it takes place in the cell. Now, if we go to a quick recap of what is cell, you must have studied in your earlier classes and your earlier chapters that cell is the smallest unit of life. It is the smallest structural and functional unit of life. And if you remember the structure, you will see in the diagram here that the cell has a cell membrane, it has a nucleus, it has a cytoplasm, and in the cytoplasm there are various organelles. So in which of these organelles the cellular respiration is taking place? It is taking place in the mitochondria. So this process of cellular respiration starts in the cytoplasm and it ends up in the mitochondria. So the entire process is called as cellular respiration. Now we will come to the second point. Okay, second point is types of cellular respiration. Now, depending upon the presence or absence of oxygen, remember, take it down, note it down. Depending upon the presence or absence of oxygen, cellular respiration can be divided into two types. Okay, One is aerobic respiration, other is anaerobic respiration. From the name only it is clear that aerobic respiration takes place in the presence of oxygen and anaerobic respiration takes place in the absence of oxygen. So I will come to it one by one. So the first thing which I am going to discuss now is aerobic respiration. In all living organism, all the plant cells, animal cells, lower organism, higher organism, the aerobic kind of cellular respiration takes place. That is the glucose which has reached the cell. Now you know how it has reached the cell, by the process of digestion and absorption. Okay, now the glucose which has reached the cell is broken down in the presence of oxygen. That is, the oxygen also enters the cell. Now from where does this oxygen enter the cell? From where the oxygen has appeared? So when we breathe in, we are taking in oxygen. This oxygen reaches our lungs. It mixes up with the blood, and through the heart it is pumped to all parts of the body. When I say all parts of the body means the oxygen is reaching each and every cell of the body. So if you see here in the picture, glucose has entered the cell and the oxygen also enters the cell. This is the case in all living organisms. Okay. So here the oxygen also reaches the cell, and in the presence of oxygen, the glucose is broken down, and this process releases carbon dioxide, water and energy, and a large quantity of energy is produced here. And the carbon dioxide which is released, we breathe out the same carbon dioxide which is released as a result of this, and the water is used up by the cell for its processes. So the chemical equation is very important. Please take up the equation. Class 7 and 8 children, you don't need the formulas here. You will simply write down from the board the glucose plus oxygen broken down to release carbon dioxide, water and energy. But for class 9 and 10, you need the chemical formula. So you will write down with the formula. The formula of glucose plus oxygen will give carbon dioxide, water and energy. And for class 9 and 10, what energy is released in the form of ATP. Okay, 38 ATP of energy is released in case of an aerobic respiration. So this chemical equation for aerobic respiration is very important. Please note it down and take it very simple. Cellular respiration taking place in the presence of oxygen is aerobic respiration. Okay, and it is taking place in all the living organism, all the plant cells, animal cells, all the living organism. But there are some conditions, there are some situations where there are some organisms which live in the absence of oxygen. They live in the absence of oxygen, like some kind of yeast. Okay, yeast is a microorganism, and also some bacteria. They live in the absence of oxygen. They don't have oxygen in the environment. So here, what will happen to the glucose which is in the cell, and how will the cell get energy? They will also produce energy. So here the glucose is broken down in the absence of oxygen. Oxygen is not there, no problem. The cell will break down the glucose in the absence of oxygen, and it will produce. Obviously, when oxygen is not there, the product will be different from aerobic respiration. So the yeast and bacteria, here the glucose will be broken down in absence of oxygen, and they will produce ethanol, ethyl alcohol, carbon dioxide and energy. So please take the equation. You will write in words for class 6 and 7, but up to 8. But in class 9 and 10, please write the chemical formulas also here. Take it from the board. Glucose broken down in absence of oxygen, releasing ethanol, carbon dioxide and energy. So here the energy produced is lesser. Okay, it will produce only 2 ATP of energy. But in aerobic, if you remember, it was 38 ATP. More energy is produced. Here, less energy is produced. Okay, and this process is also called as fermentation. This is also known as fermentation. Economically, this process is very helpful because we use this fermentation, yeast fermentation process in making breads, your burger buns, your pizza bases, all the puffiness and the sponginess which is there in the bread. It is because of the fermentation of yeast. And also in preparation of various beverages and wine, this yeast fermentation is used. So the glucose takes another pathway. The cells use another pathway of anaerobic respiration in yeast and bacteria, where the supply of oxygen is either low or there is there is no oxygen. Okay, so this kind of respiration is known as anaerobic respiration. Okay, it is anaerobic respiration, that is the respiration in the absence of oxygen. Now, not just yeast and bacteria, but in human beings, in our body also, the anaerobic respiration goes on sometimes. Yes, it's very surprising to know this, but yes, it is in the muscle cells. Whenever you are doing a heavy workout, or you're doing, working out in the gym, or you are running, or you have climbed the stairs very fastly, at that time, we start breathing very fast. At that time, our body needs more energy. So at that time, the muscle cells do not wait for the oxygen to reach there. Oxygen is taking its own time to reach, but the body is needing more energy. So in that case, in the muscle cell, the glucose is broken down in absence of oxygen. And this process produces lactic acid and energy. Okay, so please take the chemical formulas of children of class 9 and 10. So here the glucose is broken down in the muscle cell in the absence of oxygen, and this produces lactic acid and energy. Here also the energy produced is very less. It is only 2 ATP, and the lactic acid which is produced in the muscles, okay, because of anaerobic respiration, this lactic acid accumulates in the muscle cells, and because of this lactic acid, you feel the muscle cramps, pain in your muscles after a heavy exercise or after heavy running. Okay, so after, this is mainly because of the accumulation of lactic acid. And if that time, if you take a warm water bath, or if you are doing a massage on your, arms and legs, then what happens? More the blood circulation increases, more oxygen reaches your cells, and a complete breakdown takes place, and you feel better. So I hope this part is clear to you, that what is cellular respiration and what are the two types. Aerobic respiration in presence of oxygen, anaerobic respiration in absence of oxygen. With this, we come to the next part, that is the difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. This is a very, very important question, and it generally comes in almost all the exams, that what is the difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. So I am showing you the table. You can write it down from there. In aerobic respiration, it takes place in the presence of oxygen. Anaerobic respiration takes place in the absence of oxygen. There is a complete breakdown of glucose in aerobic. The glucose is broken down completely, but in anaerobic, there is incomplete breakdown of glucose. The aerobic respiration starts in the cytoplasm and it ends in the mitochondria, but the anaerobic respiration takes place in the cytoplasm only. The product of aerobic respirations are carbon dioxide and water, and the product of anaerobic respirations are lactic acid, or it can be ethanol. More energy is released. 38 ATP of energy is released in aerobic respiration, and lesser energy, only 2 ATP of energy is produced in anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration is taking place in all the living cells, and anaerobic takes place only in yeast and some bacteria and muscle cell of human beings at the time of heavy exercise or workout. Now let's come to the next topic, which is breathing. Breathing is taking in air which is rich in oxygen inside our body and giving out air which is rich in carbon dioxide outside from our body. And who helps in the process of breathing? The respiratory organs. The process of taking in air rich in oxygen is called inhalation, and the process of giving out air which is rich in carbon dioxide is called exhalation. So this process of inhalation and exhalation is breathing, and this goes on, for the whole lifetime. It is a continuous process which is going on all the time. But how is this breathing different from respiration? Okay, breathing is a part of respiration. I cannot say that breathing and respiration is same. Breathing is a part of respiration. Breathing is only an external process, that is inhalation of air and exhalation of carbon dioxide. But respiration, if we come to respiration, respiration is a complete process and breathing is just a part of it. So in a tabular form, we will discuss the difference between breathing and respiration. So you can please note down the points from the table which I am showing you now. Breathing is the exchange of gases, that is inhaling air which is rich in oxygen and exhaling air which is rich in carbon dioxide. Is a simple exchange of gases. But respiration is the breakdown of food to release carbon dioxide, water and energy. Breathing is just a physical process, but the respiration is a biochemical process. Breathing is an extracellular process. It takes place outside the cell. It involves only the respiratory organs like the nose, the windpipe, the lungs. But respiration is a cellular process. No energy is released in breathing. Rather, energy is used up, but energy is released in case of respiration. So in this way, breathing and respiration are different from each other. I hope this tabular form will help you to understand that how breathing is different from respiration. Now we come to the last topic of today's video is breathing rate. So the number of time a person breathes in a minute is called the rate of breathing, and one breathing is equal to one inhalation plus one exhalation. And it's very obvious that when we are doing a normal activity, when we are at rest or doing not much of physical work, the rate of breathing is lesser. But when we are doing a heavy exercise or too much of physical work, the rate of breathing increases. So you can, observe in your daily life that when we are doing the normal chores of the house or normal, very normal things, the rate of breathing is very less. But as soon as something unusual happens or we start, working out, the rate of breathing increases. So with this, we will complete all the parts which we discussed in today's video. Hey children, now it's time for a quick recap. I'll just take 2 minutes of yours to quickly revise whatever we did today. We started with cellular respiration. Cellular respiration is the process by which the food or the glucose is broken down in the cell to release energy, carbon dioxide and water. Cellular respiration takes place, it starts in the cytoplasm and ends in the mitochondria. Cellular respiration can be of two types: aerobic respiration when it occurs in the presence of oxygen, and anaerobic respiration when it takes place in the absence of oxygen. Anaerobic respiration can occur in two ways: in yeast and bacteria. The glucose is broken down to release ethanol, carbon dioxide and energy, which is also known as fermentation. And in case of human beings, in the muscle cells at the time of heavy exercise and physical workout, the glucose is broken down in the absence of oxygen to release lactic acid and energy. The energy released in aerobic respiration is much higher. It is 38 ATP, and the energy which is released in case of anaerobic respiration is quite less, that is 2 ATP. And because of the accumulation of lactic acid in our muscle cells, we feel heavy cramps after exercising. The next point which we discussed was about breathing. Okay, we discussed about breathing, how breathing is different from respiration. Breathing is an external process, inhaling oxygen and exhaling carbon dioxide, whereas respiration is a complete biochemical process. And then we discussed what is the rate of breathing. That is the number of times we breathe in a minute, and one breathe is equal to one inhalation and one exhalation. So I just hope that the entire topic is completely clear to you. You have got the concept of cellular respiration and also understood that how this, process, this life process is so important for us. The entire human being, all the living organisms are, producing energy and are able to do other processes of life only because of the energy which is released in the cellular respiration. So in the next class, we will be discussing the respiratory system in human beings, the mechanism of breathing, and also the mechanism of breathing in other animals like the earthworm, fishes, and other water animals. Okay, so keep tuned in, like it, subscribe it, and also share with your friends. If you're liking the video, please share with other friends of yours so that they also get a help from my, videos. I have really worked hard to create the material in such a way that you don't have to go here and there. You will get everything you need in just one video. So just stick to it, watch it, and please start taking points. Start writing points of your own whenever you are attending a lecture, either it is in your classroom or you are taking the videos. Please start writing the point. This will really a very good habit and will help you to quickly revise your lesson in a proper way. So I will meet you again with the next video and we will be completing this topic. Thank you so much. Keep exploring, keep learning, and thank you for showering me with so much of love. It really means a lot. So we are going to meet again. By the time, take care. Bye-bye.